to something Elon must see. A voice, Claire's, rose above the low buzz of Tesla's main office. Keeping a tablet close to her chest, she stood in the doorway with an extremely serious expression on her face. Elon drew back his gaze and whispered, "Unless it's about Mars, it can wait." Responding, "It's not about Mars," Claire stated, "It's about someone who thinks you're her hero." That piqued his interest. His eyes widened with interest as he raised them to look up. The play was pressed by Clara when she set the tablet on the desk. When the screen came back on, it showed a little girl in a hospital bed. She wore a vibrant pink scarf over her shaved head, which made her look pale. Her voice remained unwavering even though she was weak. "Hi, Mr. Musk. My name is Lily, and I'm 9 years old. My dream is to go to Mars, but, the doctors say I won't live long enough to see it happen. That's okay. I just have one wish. I want to meet you, even if it's just for one hug." The atmosphere was thick with silence as the video ended. While gazing at the still picture of Lily's radiant grin, Elon reclined on his chair. In a low voice, he whispered, "Is this real?" Nodding, Clara completed the sentence. Her mom sent it through a charity foundation. Lily has terminal cancer. She doesn't have much time. Elon remained still for a split second as if crushed by the gravity of the situation. He concluded by asking, "How soon can we make this happen?" In answering his question, Elon unknowingly altered the course of more than one young girl's life. On the way to the airstrip, Elon's thoughts were racing at 1,000,000 miles per hour. The actual trip was taking place in Elon's head as his driver woomed through the deserted streets. While mentally playing back the footage, he gazed out the window. Somewhere deep inside him, he'd been touched by the girl's voice and her steadfast optimism. This was the first time he had ever been dubbed a hero. No amount of material prosperity could alleviate the burden he was carrying. As sitting next to him, Claire broke the silence as the car came to a stop before the private jet. The words "you don't have to do this" came out of her lips in a low voice. "You're already her hero. Even if you stayed here, Lily would still think of you that way." Elon took some time to reply. Stepping out of the vehicle, he felt the sharp night air sting his face. When he reached the bottom of the jet stairs, he looked back at her. "She deserves more than just an image of me," remarked the man. "She deserves something real." As Elon paced restlessly inside the plane, the constant buzz of the engine served as a steady accompaniment. He despised plane rides since he had to sit quietly and think about nothing but himself in the cramped cabin. That night, those ideas were too much to bear. "What if I let her down?" he whispered. No one in particular was the target of the words that lingered in the air. "You won't," Claire remarked across the cabin. Her tone betrayed her earnest intentions, even though she had her iPad open, probably checking email. "You don't have to perform or prove anything. She just wants to meet you." Leaning forward with his elbows on his knees, Elon quickly said, "That's exactly why it's so hard." He then sat down. "People see me as this larger-than-life figure. To Lily, I'm not just Elon Musk, I'm the guy who made Mars possible. What if I don't live up to her expectations?" With her iPad shut, Claire locked eyes with him. "Have you ever thought that Lily's expectations aren't what you think they are? She's not asking for Mars, she's asking for a hug, she's asking for you." He was taken aback by the words impact. He had lived his whole life dreaming big and planning for the future, but he had never paused to think about how powerful it could be to just be in the here and now. His reflection was hardly discernible against the night sky as he cast another glimpse out the window. He had fantasized about humans soaring into the stars for a long time, but today, those celestial bodies seemed intimate. Claire replied after a considerable amount of time, "But I don't think it's about what you say or do. I think just showing up might be the most heroic thing you've ever done." Elon nodded slightly, but his jaw still clenched. The jet started to descend as the city lights below gleamed like a galaxy in disarray. A few more minutes and I would be at the hospital. Elon knew this wasn't a simple trip to see Lily as the wheels came to a stop. There was no telling what was ahead on this adventure into the unknown, and he was unprepared. Standing tall in the darkness of the hour before morning, the hospital's fluorescent lights flickered subtly. With a mix of anxiety and resolve on her face, Clara strode a pace behind Elon. Holding her tablet close to her chest, they were escorted by a nurse to the pediatric oncology ward via the immaculate, serene corridors. Elon noticed a particularly shaky but endearing drawing of what he assumed was the SpaceX emblem among the hand-drawn rockets, planets, and other decorations adorning Lily's chamber door. At the bottom of the little plaque was the name, Lily Space Adventures. Elon paused at the entrance. His arm was touched by Clara. She's been waiting for this moment. Stepping inside, he inhaled deeply. Though cramped, the space hummed with life. Mars rover blueprints and constellation posters adorned the walls. By the window, telescope rested, its lens aimed at the stars. Scribbles and doodles filled the pages of a notebook titled Mission Log, which rested on the bedside table. Lily was smack dab in the center of it all. With the help of cushions, her fragile physique allowed her to sit up in bed. She greeted him with a radiant expression, her head encircled by her distinctive pink scarf. "Mr. Musk," she said, her voice barely audible but brimming with pure wonder. Elon crouched down by her side as he felt a gentle smile playfully tug at his lips. "Psych, you must be Lily." He whispered lovingly. Lily's giggle was barely audible but full of innocence as she said, "I've heard you're a big fan of Mars." She had been practicing for zero gravity, she said. "Pay attention." Her laughter echoed across the room as she raised her delicate arms in a mock flotation pose. "Do you think I'd be a good astronaut?" she asked. "I believe you would be among the top," Elon said, well, quietly laughing. "However, training is a must for astronauts." With her resolute gaze, Lily extended her pinky and said, "Deal." As Elon swallowed the lump in his throat, he joined his pinky with hers and said, "Deal." After a brief hesitation, he continued. Elon and Lily sat down and talked space and rockets for a while. Lily displayed her notebook to Elon, which was filled with detailed plans for her Mars adventure. In it, she had drawn herself in a spacesuit, standing proudly next to a SpaceX rocket. Elon's chest tightened as he traced the shaky lines with his finger and said, "You've thought of everything. You'd be an amazing mission commander." A slight color ran down Lily's cheeks as she asked, "Do you really think I could go to Mars someday?" Elon looked directly into her eyes as he said, "I believe you already have." Her expression was one of relief and tiredness as Lily's mother stepped into the doorway, her hands quivering slightly. "Thank you for coming," she whispered. "You've made her so happy." This occurred while they were still talking. Elon rose to his feet and approached her, declaring, "She's an extraordinary girl. I'm the one who's lucky to meet her." And with a tear-streaked smile, Lily's mom held out a little envelope and explained she wanted you to have it. "She wrote something for you." As Elon placed the letter inside his pocket, he could feel the weight of the envelope on his shoulder. He had no idea how profoundly this moment would alter his life, but he was ready for it. Seated by the hotel window, Elon held the unopened envelope in his palm. Countless letters had been written to him over the years, each praising his work, his vision, and the hope he had inspired. However, this one was different. He sensed it would be different. As he unfurled the paper, a small glimmer of city lights danced outside. The handwriting was trembling but legible, each phrase selected with care. "Greetings, Mr. Musk. Your help in fulfilling my wish is greatly appreciated. It was the happiest day of my life when we finally met. Please bring a little bit of me with you to Mars. No matter what, I still want to accompany you on this adventure. With all my love, Lie." With his chest constricted, Elon stared at the letter for what seemed like an eternity. Despite all that he had accomplished and every obstacle he had broken, this one note held more significance than anything he had ever accomplished. He went back to the hospital the following morning. Lily's room had a much paler aura than the day before. Her smile was weaker and her cheeks pallid when she greeted him. Seated by her bed, Elon seemed not to be worried as he remarked, "You've got quite a fan club," while brandishing the notebook she had given him. "I had to fight Claire to keep this." "Every astronaut needs one," Lily explained as she spoke softly as she chuckled. It's my mission log." He gave a solemn nod, saying, "I've never seen a better mission log." With a trembling voice, Lily whispered, "Mr. S," her tiny hands clenched the blanket. "What motivates you, Musk, to set foot on Mars?" He hesitated, his words picked out with care before responding, "Because Mars is a second chance. It's hope, a way to make sure humanity survives no matter what happens to Earth." This sentence caught him off guard. Lily maintained her unfaltering stare. It's all about having big dreams, isn't it?" With a subtle grin, Elon said, "Something like that." Her voice betrayed her contemplation as she uttered, "I like that. I think big dreams are important." She stopped, her little hands tinkering with the blanket's edge. "Mr. Musk, is there anything else I can ask you?" "Anything," he whispered. Lily looked into his eyes for a second before asking, "Will you bring me along with you to Mars?" Your room went silent as Elon felt her inquiry crush him like a ton of bricks. He drew forward, his voice unwavering. "I assure you, Lily, you'll be by our side through thick and thin." "Is that so?" Her smile resurfaced, this time subtle yet bright. "As indeed," he stated angrily, "you will forever be an integral part of Mars." As she lowered her head into her pillow and went to sleep, Elon saw this wasn't a mere commitment, it was an impossible quest. As soon as Elon entered the pediatric ward the following morning, he observed that the hospital was noticeably quieter than usual. The hum of machinery was muted, and the voices of the nurses were muted as well. Lily's mother greeted him at the entrance of her room, her eyes red, but her demeanor determined. A soft voice whispered, "She's been asking for you," and she gracefully stepped aside to allow him entry. Sitting on her pillows, Lily appeared smaller than usual, her face pallid, but her grin as dazzling as ever. Her pink scarf was slightly awry. She managed to mutter a greeting to Mr. Musk. "Hi, Commander Lily," Elon began with an artificial grin. "How's the mission log coming along?" He then took her little hand and sat down next to her. As she spoke in a low, pleased voice while chuckling slightly, explaining, "It's almost ready for lunch, but I wanted to give you something first. This is for you," Lily's mother said as she presented Elon with a small piece of paper, carefully folded into a star. "Oh, you can take it to Mars." Elon was visibly moved by the gesture. As Elon delicately grasped the star, he could feel its fragile weight and the imperfection of its edges and folds nevertheless. It was the most valuable object he had ever handled. His voice heavy with gratitude, he replied, "I will see to it that this reaches Mars." Elon firmly stated, "Promise, I promise," and Lily's eyes shone with promise. "This star will go farther than any star has ever gone." The room was filled with the hum of machines as they sat in silence for a moment. Subsequently, Lily fixed her serious gaze on him. "I don't believe I'll be here for much longer," she whispered to Mr. Musk. Anxiety gripped Elon's throat. "Lily, you'll never really be gone," he promised. "Every time I look at the stars, I'll see you." Faint but brilliant, her smile returned. "Do you think people will remember me?" Indeed they will." Elon remarks, "You're going to be part of something so big, so extraordinary, that people will talk about you for generations. You've already made history." Breathing shallowly, Lily temporarily closed her eyes. Under her breath, she reopened her eyes and muttered, "I'll watch from the stars." While she slept, her hand firmly grasping Elon's, he remained by her side, standing up and putting the folded star in his pocket. Elon watched as her tear-streaked mother re-entered the room. He knew as he stepped out of the room that Lily's star was more than a symbol. It was a vow that he would honor no matter where life took him. The call reached Claire the following morning. As the sun rose, Elon sat his office, gazing out into the horizon. The folded paper star was on his desk, next to the letter he had slept for just a few hours. As Claire entered, her voice was gentle. She passed, "Early this morning." Like a punch, the words hit. At first, Elon remained motionless, staring at the skyline. This was an unchangeable fact for a man who took great satisfaction in finding solutions to seemingly intractable issues. Gently releasing his breath, he rose to his feet and placed the star in his pocket. Whispering a slight thank you, he spoke softly. Returning to see Lily's mother, he visited the hospital later that day. Her expression betrayed both her sorrow and her quiet determination as she sat in the familiar chair, just as she had done countless times before. "She talked about you until the very end," she pointed out. She said you gave her everything she ever dreamed of. Elon retrieved the folded star from his pocket. "I promised her this, and she gave it to me," he whispered gently. Tears were running down Lily's face as her mother nodded. "She believed in you. She always said you could do anything." Elon, who usually kept his feelings hidden, made an unusual yet comforting gesture by placing a hand on her shoulder. "I'll always be a part of everything I do." He walked back to SpaceX's headquarters after the visit, heavy but determined. The most recent rocket prototype was being readied for testing when he entered the design lab. He looked over at the engineers as he took the folded star out of his pocket. "I require this in order to travel to Mars," he stated bluntly. "It has to be part of the first mission." His teammates gazed at him with expressions that ranged from bewilderment to admiration. Nobody doubted it. The star was securely encased in a container designed to transport relics and communications to the celestial body that will one day house humanity. Over the next several days, Elon toiled away, his concentration unmatched in years. The burden of Lily's dream was on every choice and computation. Beyond being an inspiration, she served as a constant reminder of the reason he had embarked on this adventure. At a news conference a few weeks later, someone inquired about the tiny personal belongings that were being delivered to Mars. Elon hesitated, acting more timidly than usual. "A little girl named Lily gave me something," he finally remarked, his voice steady but weighted with passion. She dreamed of going to Mars, but she couldn't make the journey herself. So I'm taking her with us. She'll always be part of this mission." As his remarks hit home, everyone in the room went silent. On launch day, Elon stood beneath the majestic rocket with the paper star securely within. It was then that he understood Lily had done more than improve his life. She had become an integral part of his legacy. It was as if the cosmos had rolled out its golden carpet for the Mars launch. As the big day finally arrived, engineers and scientists were working feverishly to meet the impending deadline at the SpaceX site. The towering rocket, its sleek frame shining in the sunlight, was the focus of cameras from all the major news outlets. Through the reinforced glass, Elon stared at the rocket from the control room. A container close to the payload center contained the folded paper star. A promise kept, it was more than that. 30 minutes to launch, Claire said she stood by his side. Being cognizant of the gravity of the task, she had maintained an abnormally low profile that day. Elon only nodded, remaining silent. All of Lily's qualities, her boundless energy, her infectious laugh, and her unfaltering faith in a power greater than herself occupied his mind. Unexpectedly, she had shown him that even the smallest events can have a profound impact on the future. Dave's The chamber resounded with the director of launch's voice. Final systems check complete. All systems go. Elon addressed the squad by reaching for the microphone. This launch isn't just about Mars. He continued, his voice firm but emotional. It's about hope. It's about dreams that reach beyond the limits of time and space. And it's about the people who inspire us to be better. Today, we carry one of those people with us. With the weight of his remarks finally hitting home, the room went quiet. An expression of silent support spread across Clara's face as she put a hand on his shoulder. 10 minutes until takeoff, the announcer said. From the outside, the rocket was a symbol of the boundless human spirit. As the clock struck 0, Elon's fixation remained fixed on it. To Lily, he murmured, "This is for you, Lily." At that moment, the engines began to rev up, making a sound so loud it shook the ground. As it blasted into the sky, the rocket left a path of flames resembling a shooting star. Elon stayed motionless, observing as the rocket dipped below the horizon, even while the control room burst into jubilation. Images sent back to Earth by the first Mars rover a few months later revealed a little memorial within the home. For Lily, who dreamed of the stars and became one of them. A plaque accompanied Lily's paper star, which was housed in a glass case. The photo went viral, touching the hearts of millions. In addition to letters detailing their aspirations for space travel, children from all across the globe sent hand-drawn stars to SpaceX. Projects were named after Lily in her honor, and her narrative came to represent perseverance, optimism, and the limitless potential of the human mind. Years later, Elon stood beneath the hard Martian sky at the memorial. The red dirt, which he and many others had battled for, seemed to go on forever in front of him. The star, with its slightly worn but undamaged folds, was his whole attention. He murmured, "You made it, Lily," his voice just discernible in the space-thin Martian atmosphere. We made it. Upon returning to Earth, memories of Lily's story, the girl who wished for Mars, the man who took her wish to space, and the legacy that proved that even the smallest dreams may have a profound impact on the cosmos persisted. And in a galaxy far, far away, Lily's light is shining even brighter than ever. Thank you for watching this video and joining me on this emotional journey. Lily's story reminds us that dreams, no matter how small, can leave an impact that resonates across time and space. All of you, if this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe to Velvet Sovereigns, where we share more inspiring, uplifting, and thought-provoking stories. Stay tuned for even better and more interesting tales that will leave you feeling inspired and hopeful. Together, let's celebrate the extraordinary in every life. Until next time, take care and keep dreaming.